What's up, everybody? I'm Nash Loibl. This is Zack Chavez, and we're with the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Today, we sit down with head coach of Colorado Mesa University's men's basketball program, Mike DeGeorge. The Mavericks were just picked first in the 2023 RMAC men's basketball preseason coaches poll. So without further ado, let's hear from Coach DeGeorge.
Well, we're sitting here with Colorado Mesa men's basketball head coach, Mike DeGeorge. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited for the season to get tipped off.
I think we're both excited here. Everybody in the office as well. We're kind of buzzing, especially after such a successful season in the RMAC last year. But, Coach, you were just picked number one in the RMAC men's basketball preseason poll. So just take us away here, get us started, and preview this Mavericks program for us.
Yeah, we're really excited about the year. You know, we returned 16 guys from last year, and so we just lost Blaze Threet, who was a first-team all-conference player. So it's a big loss, but this group kind of fit together. They all are capable of playing fast. We have a lot of shooting, and so we're just really excited about being more up-tempo, and we'll just be able to spread the floor more because we have just a tremendous amount of shooting, and Blaze was sort of the lead guard for us, and we ran everything through him, and will be a more well-distributed offense. All five guys on the floor can handle it, they can shoot it, and they can drive it, and so it's just going to fit playing up-tempo and being a real versatile group.
Coach, you just mentioned the shooting. The three-point shot was huge for you guys last year, as you guys shot just over 39% as a team. That number would have ranked you guys third at the Division I level. How important is the three-point shot to spacing the opposing team's defense? And just truly, how does it influence your offense?
Yeah, and the part of the game plan against us and the RMAC has been to kind of clog the paint, just not, give us anything in the paint. And, we've started to be able to counter that better and better. We've added more shooting over the last couple of years. And so we definitely want to play through the paint, and that's our identity still. But, the three-point line has transformed the game, and so we're hoping to shoot a similar percentage this year on a way more attempts than we've had in the past.
Sounds good, Coach. You also mentioned your ball movement, and rebounding, which was key for you guys last year, as you averaged 14 assists, which was 2 more assists per game than opposing teams, and 34 rebounds per game, which was more than 5 above opposing teams per game. How do you replicate this impressive feat on the court this year heading into 23-24?
Well, it's really just about habits, because we do have really unselfish basketball players. And so, they're going to move the ball, they're going to distribute it. And then, the more threes you shoot, the better chances you have at offensive rebound. And so, our ability to just be disciplined on the glass, whether we're boxing out at the defensive end or going when we shoot threes at the offensive end, will be key to replicating that effort.
Coach, you mentioned that you have a ton of returners this year, 16 in specific, but 3 that I want to touch on and maybe just expand on these 3. Trevor Baskin, Mac Riniker, Isaac Jessup, they're all in for a bigger role this season. How do you expect these players and maybe some others to step up?
Well, as I said, Blaze last year sort of generated the bulk of the offense for us, and those guys were certainly recipients of a lot of the offense Blaze created. He did a great job of that. But we think the versatility this team brings, that all 3 of those guys will be a more active role, not only finishing plays, but creating for their teammates. And so, they will play a very big role in terms of just being real versatile at the offensive end. And all 3 of them are just great defenders as well. And they create real matchup problems, particularly Mac and Trevor at the offensive end. Are you going to guard them with bigs? Are you going to guard them with guards? How are you going to match up with those 2? Create real problems for people.
And I think the thing that stood out to me most about them and your team last season is the athleticism that you've touched on. They're kind of rangy and able to get into the paint, but also a threat from deep. And yeah, how do you guard them? But another person that I'm interested in discussing here, 2 seasons of injury, Ethan Menzies, he's hoping to make an impactful return to the court. What would his presence and production on the court mean to this program?
Well, he had to have he went to a specialist that specializes in re-tears, because he tore his ACL 3 years ago. He was an All-American. 2 years ago, he tore his ACL, and then he tore it again last year. And so it really did alter our plan. He was a key cog in everything that we were doing. And then we lost him 2 years in a row about this time of year. And so it really has been, we were playing catch up always it felt like each of the last 2 years trying to build a system without him in the lineup. So this year he had to have 2 surgeries because he went to a re-tear specialist and they felt like his bones were out of alignment. That was the reason for the re-tear. And so he's probably not going to be back until sometime in January. He has been cleared for full activity now, and he's been able to get in some drills, which is awesome to have him out there. But we've been able to build the offense as if we didn't have him this year, and we were able to go to Europe this summer, and we played then. So really, from the time Blaze went on the portal last year, we've been able to kind of have this upward trajectory of how we're playing. And so far, we've avoided injuries this year for the first time since I've been here. And so we really love the direction the group is going to. And then if you can add somebody as talented as Ethan, he just has an incredible basketball IQ. He's got great hands. He's a great finisher. Whereas some guys, would have been disrupted by being out for 2 years and perhaps a loss of athleticism from Intern as ACL 2 years in a row. We really feel like Ethan's going to be able to transition back in just because of how talented he is and the way his game fits what we're going to be doing.
I think that stands out a lot to me. ACL tears are obviously very difficult to deal with, but I think, in my opinion, the biggest obstacle to overcome from an ACL tear is the mental aspect of it. So how has Ethan been able to traverse that mental kind of instability that comes along with an injury that's as big as an ACL?
Yeah, it's interesting because he seems way ahead mentally this year from where he was a year ago at this time in the fall when he started coming back. He just seemed really apprehensive. And my feeling is, this is just my observation, I feel like he kind of knew something wasn't quite right last year, and he was a little bit more protective. He just seems really more confident in it so far, and I think as he continues to go, we just hope his rehab continues to progress on schedule as it has. And I think if it does, and he physically has that confidence, it'll lead to the mental confidence as well. But it's certainly, you can't discount one from the other. It's definitely real that it's happened to him 2 years in a row.
Well, Coach, we've talked about the offensive threat that this team has this year and in previous years, but I don't want to ignore the defensive side of your game as well, your game plan as well. Last year, you all were dominant on the defensive end, averaged 8.5 steals, 3.2 blocks per game. How important is the defensive identity to your program going forward?
Yeah, defense is the center of our identity and just that toughness that we bring. And then the thing that makes us special is we have the versatility to really be able to switch a lot because our guards are big and strong and long, and our bigs are real versatile and can guard on the perimeter. And so it really does give us a big advantage in terms of our flexibility of how we're able to play. And then we're a pack line team, so we're trying to protect the paint, but we also lead the league in steals. And so we do just the versatility our players bring just amplifies our system. But, we're always going to be a defensive first team here. And we just think that, there's some nights more shots are going to go in than others. But if you bring that defensive mentality every night, it's going to give you a great chance to win no matter the circumstances.
Coach, you talk about mentality and really just like kind of some mental fortitude you have to have on defense. But last year, you guys showed some impressive and quite a bit of it mental fortitude down the stretch, which guided you to the #1 overall seed in the RMAC tournament. How important is the mental side of basketball to your program, and what did your team prove to you down the stretch last year?
Yeah, it's just been really an interesting journey with this group. We kind of got the bulk of our team in right before COVID hit, and they were all freshmen, and they played right away. And I remember I called my dad the night before our first game because we had 2 point guards out, and I'm like, I really like this group. I think we're going to be good, but I don't know when we're going to win our first game. It could be a while, and then we started the season 14-0. We only lost 1 game in the regular season. And so, it was like, so this group has been together for a long time. They've had a lot of success, but they've also matured a lot. They came out of that year when it was COVID, and honestly, CMU did maybe a better job during COVID than some of the schools did. It's more real experience. And so, it was just a really challenging time for a lot of teams who are more real experience. So the second year, we lose Ethan, and so that group had to rally around that. And then the fact that we're being challenged in ways that we weren't used to. because we kind of had kind of unrealistic expectations that second year of things were a little easier during the COVID year for us. And then last year we lose Ethan again, and then we lose our first 2 conference games of the year at home to Mines and Metro. And then the group showed just so much mental fortitude from that point through the end of the regular season. Unfortunately, Isaac Jessup got hurt near the end of the year, and we just didn't play our best in the tournament. But that group's growth from that first weekend in December through that mid-February was incredible, and it really spoke to that group. And I think we've taken that next step. I think this group has also grown in maturity, and we've just kind of brought it every day, whether it was through the spring, through the summer, getting those 10 practices before playing in Europe. We played great in Europe, which teams I've taken in the past play terrible because you're doing so much tourism, all the travel. It's just really hard to play well, and they played at a really high level. And then we've just seen that incremental growth with no really bad days this fall. So we're really excited about the maturity of this group, and they've just continued to add on to that mental toughness over their careers.
So, Coach, I got one last question for you. What would be the mark of a successful 2023-24 season for the Mavericks?
Well, we try to be process-driven and not outcome-driven, but I will say that there's no question that this group feels like they can compete for a national championship, and we definitely want to win. We're a half a game back or an 80-foot shot from winning either our conference tournament or conference championship 5 years in a row. And so, this group has the expectations to be the best team in the RMAC, the best team in school history, and to make a serious run at competing for a national championship. That's this team's goals. From my perspective, I just want us to play hard every night. I want us to be great teammates, and you can't control everything outside of that. So many new guys in the league. Who knows who will be good and who won't, and who's elevated to a new level. So, we have no idea what the outcome is going to be because we don't know very much about the teams we're going to be playing. But we do have a lot of confidence in this group, and this group certainly expects success.
Well, Coach, that about wraps it up on our end, but I do want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and we really look forward to seeing what you all put down on the court this year.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.